There were 89 intimate partner homicides reported in 2011. In 2012, there were 74, which represented more than half of the state's 136 domestic homicides. Statewide in 2012, 58% of all female homicide victims 16 and older were killed by intimate partners. You can see why the knowledge of when an order of protection has been served is important.
First of all, the most dangerous time for a victim is when she decides she's going to leave the relationship, not when she actually does. The minute she decides that that relationship is over and done with, that she wants the abuse to stop, he has some inkling of what's going to happen next. So if there's an arrest that happens, that order of protection is given to him right in criminal court. He knows that he does not have the right to go and talk to her any longer. In family court, it's a little bit different. She can go to family court and ask for an order of protection, and it's served right there to her, but it's not served to him at that moment. So that order of protection is not good until he's physically served with that. So the unknown, the not knowing of what's going to happen next is more nerve-wracking than doing the order itself. Because she knew that minute that she wanted to leave that relationship, that he knew that that's going to become a dangerous situation. So it's heightened. The awareness is heightened. So it's very important for her to know when that order is served.
Advocates like Wendy help victims to understand the legal system, terminology, and more importantly, to protect themselves and their children.
What happens is that we actually attend court cases with them. We help them fill out petitions for custody, visitation, orders of protection. And we do reports with the police department and also warrant. And we are looking at high-risk cases. The ones that we're looking at as far as homicides, possible, strangulation cases, stalking cases. And we're really trying to identify those cases as a high risk and what we can do for the victim so that she can stay in her home safely.
The statewide Automated Victim Information and Notification System is a project led by the New York State Sheriff's Association Institute. It provides domestic violence victims with the ability to get prompt notice when a family court order of protection has been served.
SAVIN right now has 3 tools available for victims and victim advocates. The first tool is a notification tool where a victim or other interested party can register on New York Alert to receive notification when an order of protection is served. And they can receive notification either by phone, by text, by email, fax if they like, or by a iAlert, which is an iPhone app that's available. The second function that you can get through the order of protection notification system is an inquiry function. And that allows a victim or other interested party to go on and check the status of an order of protection. Has it been served yet? And it simply gives you notification of the date and time of service and the agency that served it. The benefit of that service is we have some victims who prefer not to register on a computer, so it allows them to simply go on, make an inquiry, not have to use their email address or give a phone number. So it gives them, they feel a little more comfortable. And the third function available on the system right now is what we call a caseload function. And that's really designed for advocates. So they can register on New York Alert one time, but register multiple orders of protection so that they can maintain a caseload and be notified when anyone on their caseload has an order of protection served.
Prior to SAVIN, notifications to victims that an order was served was spotty. Some agencies and advocates called victims, but the process was inconsistent and not always timely. SAVIN changes that.
Not always easy for them to find out. And if the victim, for example, left her home and went to stay either in a shelter or stayed with a family member or somewhere else, she might be notified at a phone number or an address that she wasn't at. So she could, in a lot of situations, go without knowing that it had indeed been served. It's one thing to walk out of court, know that you've had your order of protection granted, and then the question is, can I go about my day-to-day business? Can I go to work? Can I go to school? Can I pick up my kids at daycare?
First of all, they now know that the order of protection is served and it is active, but they also have the ability to quickly notify their client that the order of protection has been served and is enforceable. It also may be the time that they worked out with their client to implement their personal safety plan, depending on the situation. If it's a potentially violent situation, they may have a personal safety plan prepared that they activate at the time of service.
Safety planning is a critical part of what advocates do for victims of domestic violence. According to the State Office for the Prevention of Domestic Violence, safety planning is a tool to help victims identify options, evaluate those options, and come up with a plan to reduce their risk when faced with harm or the threat of harm.
Be able to let your client know that there's an extra safety plan, and I use that safety plan all the time. I mean, I use those words, and they're not light words when I talk to a client. For an advocate to know that that's just one more tool in their belt to be able to say, we can help you, let's get you in a safe place, either put you in a shelter, put you in a family, or get you out of county or out of state. To know that that order of protection is live at that moment is unbelievable to that client, but it helps an advocate be able to do her job.
I would encourage a victim advocate to sign on to New York Alert. New York Alert does other things other than the order of protection notification. So they can register in advance of even using it just to get a weather report, a traffic report, notifications when a sex offender moves into their neighborhood. Once they're registered for any one of those services, they're set up to just start receiving orders of protection should they need to. And all they would need to add at that point, again, is the name of the court, the order of protection number, and the docket number that they want to be notified about.
I had a situation that we became aware of very recently where a young woman who was away at school in another county was being harassed and stalked by a boyfriend who was from yet another county, and her residence was here in the Capital Region, was in Rensselaer County. So her parents encouraged her to come home and discuss it. They talked to an advocate. It was suggested she go to family court and get an order of protection, which she did. She was granted the order of protection, and she was very concerned about what next. She needed to go back to school. So knowing that he had been served was really critical for her in terms of being able to return to school and return to her daily activities. And her mother found out or knew about SAVIN and was able to check online to see whether or not service happened within 24 hours before she left to go back to school. And it was just, everyone breathed a sigh of release because they knew that he had been duly served and that she knew what precautions she needed to take and how to get assistance if she needed it.
How do you get out of your house if there was a fire? Do you know 2 ways to be able to leave your home? Is there a back window that you're able to get out of? Is there a back door? If you have a 2-family home or a single-family home, or you have an apartment with children, do you not have children? So we try to make sure that safety plan is to her safety. What we do is try to figure out whether or not the perpetrator is in jail if we're not meeting her at the arrest time. If he is, there's a different safety plan for that. Does she work? How do we make sure she gets out of her work and home safely? Is there someone available to walk her out of that home? The kids having that identifying word, you know, we could use bananas. You know, Mommy, I want a banana. You run to your neighbor's house at that time to make sure that someone's calling 911. Do the children know how to use 911? That's a huge thing. If their phone is locked, how many people have a cell phone that have a locked number on it? Do the children know how to get that phone unlocked? So those are the type of safety plans that we try to do, and it's specifically for that client.
I think it allows victims to feel like they have some control over what's going on for them. I think it lets them know that they can monitor through the SAVIN program whether or not an order has been served, when that happened, can determine, in this instance, for example, knowing whether or not the person had been served, and Binghamton gives some reassurance that the person was back where they were, not in her locale. So I think that there were a lot of positive aspects to it.
So them having the peace of mind when that telephone call or that text calls or that email comes in to say that your order of protection has been served upon him, to be able to kick that extra safety plan, that extra tool into place for them is unimaginable. They need that security to know that this is the next step that's going to happen. And if he does come to the house, she can alert the police department the correct way and letting them know that there's an order of protection, there's a full order of protection, I need your help now.
Well, I would encourage everyone, victim services programs, the courts, the prosecutor's offices, to familiarize themselves with the system, to notify victims immediately as soon as they are applying and granted an order of protection, to have the information about how to go on New York Alert and find out whether or not the order of protection has been served. I think it's just another tool in helping to assure safety for victims of domestic violence.
A lot of them come to us and just say thank you for you being there, thank you for these programs to help us out, but just to validate that they are somebody, that they're a person, means more to them than anything. So these programs are awesome when they come out and to help our victims out.